time, a stunning admission from Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. All take the blame for the attacks in Benghazi, Libya.
Well, I'm responsible for the State Department, for the more than 60,000 people around the world. The decisions about security assets are made by security professionals. But we're going to review everything to make sure that we're doing what needs to be done in an increasingly risky environment around the world. I can't speak to who knew what about that. We knew that there were security breaches and problems throughout Libya. That was something that came about as the aftermath of the revolution to topple Gaddafi.
That interview with Mrs. Clinton came down from our own Wendell Goller, who was in Peru with her. So why is she taking responsibility now, and does that clear the president from any blame? Joining us now is South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, who's been very vocal about this issue. Good morning to you, Senator.
Good morning.
There were two previous Benghazi violent attacks, I believe one in April and one in June. So why wasn't something more done about security in Benghazi?
Well, I think here's the first question. The Secretary of State's responsible for embassies, but the President of the United States is responsible for protecting us as a nation against al-Qaeda and other radical Islamists. In April, the consulate was attacked. An IED was thrown over the wall. In June 6th, the consulate was attacked again. There was a hole blown in the wall that was large enough for 40 people to get through the wall. The northern gate was penetrated. 4 days later, the British ambassador in Benghazi, Libya, was attacked. They closed their embassy. The Red Cross was attacked. They closed their office in Benghazi. My question is, did anyone ever inform the President of the United States about these terrorist attacks on our consulate? What did he know? When did he know it? And what did he do about it? It would be stunning to me for our national security team not to inform the President back in April and June. And it's stunning to me that the Vice President denies any knowledge of the security situation in Benghazi, Libya. I find that almost impossible to believe.
Well, the Secretary of State says, hey, that's my job. I didn't tell the President. So is your question, why didn't you tell him in the spring?
No, that's not her job. The National Security Advisor's job is to advise the President about security instances throughout the world. It is the intelligence community's job to find out what threats we face as a nation. It is a national security team supposed to be advising the President and the Vice President about the situation on the ground in Libya and throughout the world. And it would be stunning to me for our consulate to be attacked twice, for the British ambassador to be attacked 4 days after we were attacked, for them to close their consulate in Benghazi, Libya, and the President of the United States nor the Vice President ever told about that. If that's the case, I have no confidence in our national security team. But if the President was in fact briefed, it is his responsibility to keep America safe. What he said about Cairo, Egypt, and Libya as being bumps in the road on the road to democracy could not be further from the truth. His foreign policy choices are becoming unraveled. I was in Libya last September with Senator McCain and others. We wrote an op-ed piece last October saying the militias in Libya have to be dealt with. We need to be helping the Libyans train a national army. We've done nothing in a year to help secure the situation in Libya. Iraq is coming unraveled. There are 2,500 al-Qaeda fighters back in Iraq. There are training camps in western Iraq. Iran is flying over Iraq to support Syria. Afghanistan, the commander-in-chief overruled his commanders 3 different times, and when Vice President Biden said the commanders agreed with the withdrawal of the surge forces, that's not accurate.
And the way you describe it, and because you know so much about this, you know, you're the perfect guest to be talking about this, because, you know, the big question is, what did the president know and when did he know it? But people in the administration...
And what did he do about it?
Exactly, because had they actually granted the request for extra security, 4 Americans may very well be alive right now.
Well, Steve, that's a very good point. If we're not telling the president about 2 attacks on a consulate and that the British had to leave the area and that there was a hole blown in the wall that 40 people could get through, what are we telling the president? And it's his responsibility to have a national security team in place. But I don't believe that after these 2 attacks that anyone should be begging for additional security, have to be begging, and denied additional security. Mr. Nordstrom said that he asked for 12 people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I know what you're saying. Nordstrom asked for 12 people, and the State Department denied that request. But what I'm interested in knowing from you this morning, Senator, do you believe that this is still two stories? Is it the security story, and is it also an alleged cover-up story?
I think it's Exhibit A of a failed foreign policy. Number one, they're they have a minimalist approach to foreign policy, a laissez-faire attitude. They have a command and control approach to the economy. Obamacare, where the federal government's taking over the economy. Dodd-Frank, the stimulus grew the government, didn't really grow the economy. But when it comes to foreign policy, they have a leading from behind approach, and it caught up with them in Libya. So this whole idea that we're not exceptional in a nation, we don't have to lead, finally caught up with us. Libya was a deteriorating security environment for months before September 11th. The militias were known to be a problem. We did nothing about it, and it caught up with us.
Leading from behind, only using airstrikes, not getting on the ground, it's almost impossible to have a successful war in aftermath. But listen, Senator, now they were talking about getting together a special forces strike team to locate the militia that did this and attack. And some people are saying this adds up to an October surprise, or do you think this is what you do after we're attacked?
I think this is what they do after they get a lot of criticism. This should have been the first response. The president should have been on national television talking about this will not stand. Those who did this will be brought to justice. This is not a criminal matter. This is a military matter. The FBI, the CIA, the Department of Defense should join with the Libyans to hunt these people down. They're playing catch-up. Again, the region is coming unraveled. Leaving no troops in Iraq has caught up with us. Iraq is deteriorating. I was there 2 months ago, and the president inherited a lot of hard problems. Iraq was a success story in the making. They made it impossible to leave troops. Afghanistan, he's overruled our commanders 3 times, and if we don't have a follow-on force post-2014, that place is going to fall apart.
Well, let's just hope it's not a wag the dog moment. All right, Senator Lindsey Graham joined us today from Savannah, Georgia. Thank you, sir. Savannah,
thank you.
Beautiful.